So, what type of systems do you need to revamp every single year as a childcare business owner? Well, one of those things that you have to do as a business owner is make sure that your home daycare or your center is running smoothly. And in order to do that, you probably have things like policy handbook, educational programs, some systems, and really just guidelines to make sure that everyone is on the same page. And you don't need to be repeating yourself over and over, even though you probably do, and that everyone knows exactly what's expected of them, right? So if you're running a home daycare or a larger center, these are things like your policy handbook, your rules of operation, your educational program, your tour process, onboarding systems when a new child enrolls or when you hire somebody new, and your team handbook, obviously, with all the rules and all the things that you expect your staff, right, to be doing. So these are all systems, or you can call them onboarding processes, whatever you want to call them. But why is it important for you to be tweaking them or updating them every single year? Number one, I'm pretty sure your business is different this year than it was last year and the year before that, right? As business owners, our business grows, the way we run business, the way marketing works, just everything in general evolves, it grows, right, from year to year. So, let's say you started your home daycare 5 years ago. Well, I'm pretty sure a lot of things have changed in your day-to-day operations, but also in the world around you, that made you think of new things that you should add in your handbook, for example, right? So these are all things that you have to always be thinking about as a business owner. So it's really important that you make the time throughout the year to tweak your policy handbooks, for example, to take out things that don't apply anymore and to add things that you've noticed need to be mentioned over and over, or new things that popped up. Maybe you have new guidelines that you have to include in there, or new, I don't know, safety rules, or just anything new that you feel is needed. It's really important that you take the time every single year to look over all these handbooks and make the proper changes. But most of the time, I'm pretty sure you're busy, you're running your business, and you just don't have the time to do these things. But it's really, really important that you do so. I'll tell you a quick story. When I was running my childcare center, we put our policy handbook together as well as our educational curriculum. We actually had a separate booklet for that. And in order for us to get our permit, one of the things we had to do is put these documents together before we opened up. So once we did that and everything was fine, we started working in our business. We got so busy with the day-to-day things that we rarely looked at these booklets anymore. Fast forward 5-6 years later, we had not updated anything, not even a word, not even a phrase, nothing. And we started, feeling that things were happening in the daycare. So complaints from parents, staff was not really following the rules that we had created, at least in our minds, right? And we thought to ourselves with the other business owner, okay, well, why are things feeling like this right now? Well, we realized that obviously our team had grown. We had started with 2 people, and now we were, I think, 5 or 6 staff full time. The center had grown, so we went from like 13 kids to 34 kids. So the business had grown, but we hadn't grown ourselves when it came to our policy handbooks or educational curriculum. We hadn't updated anything that had to do with that, and that was a real problem because things started popping up that were not really an issue back then, right? So for example, I don't know, staff coming in 5-10 minutes late. When we first started, I didn't have staff. I was working in the class and the other business owner as well, right? So we didn't feel the need to add these things in there. Other things like staffs on their mobile devices, right? Or staff scrolling the internet when they're working, or anything that has to do with COVID, right? And all of that. So these are all things that when we first started, we didn't have to think about any of this. But as the years progressed, as the business grew, as we started hiring and dealing with more kids and more new parents, right? We had to make sure that everyone was on the same page, right? So if someone, for example, had a question, they knew exactly how to proceed. If someone had to call in sick, they knew exactly the process they had to follow. If someone had a complaint, it wasn't, they couldn't go in the hallway and start yelling it out. They had to follow a procedure when it came to complaints, right? So that was really important. And although it took a lot of time for us to sit down and do this in the office, it kind of set the way so that every single year after that, we would come together in the office with the other business owner and we had a meeting and we would think of the year before and we would think, okay, how can we make our policies better? What can we change in our educational curriculum that really didn't work this year, right? How can we make the edits? And we would do that. And then everything just kind of flowed better after that because everyone was on the same page. Everything was crystal clear. My policy handbook and my educational curriculum went from like 10 pages to like 70 pages each because I had so much that we hadn't written at the beginning when we first started out. And it just made running our center so much easier because everyone knew what was expected of them. And we had guidelines to follow that weren't a surprise for someone, right? For example, if they showed up late or anything like that, that would happen. So it's really important as a business owner to take the time to look at your handbooks, to look at your curriculum, think, okay, how can I make this better? What didn't work last year? What can I add to make it more developed, to make it more concrete, more clear for the parents so that I'm not having issues going forward? And that's really important for you to do as a business owner, whether you're running a small home daycare or a larger center. I know that that's probably going to look a little bit different, but in any case, you still have to have a policy handbook. I'm pretty sure you have an educational curriculum and an onboarding process. So how you're booking your tours, hiring new staff, enrolling new kids, all that is really, really important so that your business flows smoothly and that you're not stressed out, when something pops up that you were not expecting. So I'm actually doing something really interesting in the 2 first weeks of May that I'd love to talk to you guys about. And one of the things I'm going to be doing in there is looking over onboarding processes with the other business owners that are going to be a part of this experience. And I'm going to go in and look over their systems and kind of do like a quick audit and give them some feedback and some pointers on what they can tweak or optimize or clarify so that going forward they have a revamped policy handbook or educational curriculum that's really going to set the path for the next year or so. So I call this the childcare business revamp. It's a 2-week experience for about 5 childcare business owners. It's for home daycare providers, but also owners that own smaller centers that feel they need a revamp. So we're going to go through branding, how to get clear on that. We're going to talk about your website. We're going to go through social media audits and content creation. You're going to come up with a plan that you can work with for the next 12 months. We're going to talk about messaging and how important that is in order to be able to attract more clients to your daycare. We're going to cover things like your onboarding processes, your tour process, how to make sure that's concrete so that every time someone books a visit with you, you know how to convert them into a paying client. And you're also going to put together your own marketing strategy for the next 12 months. So it's going to be really exciting, a lot of work. So you are going to be learning and then implementing, which is obviously really important. And I'm going to be there with you every step of the way. It's 2 weeks long. First of May, we start and we go for 2 weeks. If you want to be a part of this or if you want to get some more information, all you have to do is click the link in the description of this video, read a little bit about that. And if you think that this is something that can add value and help you in your childcare business, like if you feel like you need a revamp and you need someone to walk you through these things, then you just click and apply and we will take it from there.